We have the patch notes for set 15, the very first one for KO Coliseum. Let's get right into it. Gather your dream team and fight your way to the top. Lots of big changes, and I went over some of these in a previous video, but these are going to be the official patch notes that are coming for this very next set. First up, we have the KO Coliseum cinematic. We have a dev drop as well, and we also have new cosmetics. So let's look at the Coliseum pass first. We have a new arena, a new portal, some treasure tokens, and then Battle Academia Sprite, Shanghai Scrolls Shiro and Kuro, Star Guardian Silky, Arcana Kiko, and you, apparently, for an emote. After that, we have some Realm Crystals and Shards, and then a Colorful Cannon and Steamrolled for booms. This is all from the past, so I think the best thing from this pass probably is going to be the map for me. I don't really care too much for the little legends, but to each their own. In the rotating shop, they did mention they were going to update something before. What were they changing again? So they're going to have different rotating shop cadences, and then we're pausing the experiment to work out some kinks, and will update us once it's up and going again. All right, so nothing too much going on there. Rank rewards from last set are going to come out, I think, shortly. I don't know if it's going to happen right away. Maybe it takes them a patch or two, but we have whatever this thing is. I forget what chibi this one was, but let's go on into the new rank season. So when KO Coliseum goes live in your region, and it's going to go live whatever July 30th is. So for me, that's tomorrow. For some of you, that's going to be today. And depending on our rank from previous sets, we're either going to be Iron 2 to Silver 4, and that's also true for Double Up. Also, they remove Hyper Roll, so no more Hyper Roll there. We do get 5 provisional matches after the reset where you do not lose any LP, and you also gain extra LP for the top 4. So it does help a lot to do well in these first couple of games, but even if you don't, like after the placements, you still gain more than you would normally gain until you kind of normalize out. I don't know how many games it takes. Maybe it takes like 30 games or something like that. I don't have the exact number. But also note there is a 24-hour delay between mobile and PC going live. So I guess mobile, you're going to have to wait an extra day. So I guess for mobile players, it's going to be on July 31st. Next up we have is the rotating shop infographic. Who is this? Ari, Lilia, Thresh, and this map? Okay. I think out of these three, maybe Lily is the best one out of that one, but let's go on into the user interface. So Team Planner, I'm really excited about this one. I've heard about this one, but I don't know what it actually looks like. So they have trait filtering. So now you can look up traits and add everyone in a trait into your Team Planner. So remember how I always say, go to bunnymuffins.lol/meta, and then like sometimes in the description of a team comp, I'm like, yeah, just play all the whatever units, just put them in your Team Planner and do it. And like there is a way to copy it over, but in case you don't have time to copy or don't have a second monitor to alt tab, or maybe your computer can't handle alt tabbing, it's a lot easier now because you can now just look up a trait, click whatever it is, Battle Academia or whatever it is, click all the units, and then you don't need to do anything more for that. So really great feature. Excited that that's there. Like every set, the Team Planner gets like one little feature that makes it a little bit better. So it's slowly but surely on the upgrades, but at least it is surely. Next up, we have our system changes. So the new set mechanic is going to be called power-ups. Some people call them fruits. So if you've heard people talk about fruit, they're not talking about like some consumable, they're talking about the power-ups. And the reason why they call them fruits is just because that's what the icon kind of looks like. But if you played 2 sets ago, which was set 13, where we had anomalies, power-ups are essentially anomalies. But you can have 2 of them and you can move it around onto different units. So for power-ups, you get one on round 1-3 and another on 3-6, and you just open up an armory and you get to choose between 3 different power-ups and you select whichever one you want. In case you do not like any of your options, they do give out, I think, 1 or 2 rerolls per stage, so you're pretty much able to get whatever you want most of the time. Keep in mind, champions have a unique pool of power-ups available to them. It's around 15 to 25 per champion, and there are a couple of different types of power-ups. So there's just basic ways to power up your champion, like give them more attack damage, give them more attack speed, and other effects like that. Other ones are a bit more interesting where they improve your trait that you're playing. So for example, Star Guardians has one where it just improves the Star Guardians effect and also gives a secondary effect where you can heal the other person with the same power up. There are various team up and duos. I think there's one with Rakan and Xayah. And then lastly, there are unique ones where you get a specific bonus on whatever ability, on whatever champion you're playing. Not everyone has one, but they pretty much just add an extra effect to their ability or maybe their auto attacks. You could remove and get a new power up by selling a champion, so you don't always have to use the remover. But overall, I think it is a very good system compared to anomalies that we had before. So increased round timer, 2-1 planning phase duration is being increased by 10 seconds. Is this forever? Normally they just do it for the first 1 or 2 patches of the set, but let's see if they are keeping it permanent. So they allow us to go to the washroom really quickly, and then on second thought, that's probably too ambitious. Well, not if you have a water bottle underneath your desk. Mana regeneration, big changes here. Essentially, they added roles to TFT. So whatever role your champion has, that's going to determine how they're going to gain mana. So before, when you take damage, you gain mana, and when you auto attack, you gain 10 mana. Now only tanks gain mana when they take damage. And then every champion does gain mana when they auto attack, but tanks, I think they only get 5 instead of 10. There are other roles where if you're like a melee attack fighter, you get Omnivamp. Some ranged champions are the same where they gain 10 mana on an auto, but there are different ones where they gain 5 mana on auto and then 1 or 2 mana per second passively. So there are a lot of new things that are happening with mana regeneration. Overall, it's not going to change too much of how you play. The only interaction that I think is affected is if you have some lifesteal damage unit that's very reliant on their spell. They're not going to be able to just infinite tank anymore because they have to actually auto attack to gain mana. So before, they could just get a big shield or get a big heal and then take damage, gain mana, and cast again, but that interaction is going to be not as easy to do with this new mana regeneration system. So roles revamp, I already talked about this a little bit. Wow, I was like saying these numbers from my head and they just wrote them all out here. But yeah, one other thing I forgot to mention is that tanks are more likely to be targeted now. So if you have the tank class, you could put them in the front line and they'll take aggros from like your fighters, your assassins, and whoever else you have in the front line. Oh, and by the way, the one where I said is 5 mana per attack and then gains 2 mana per second, it's 7 mana actually, so that's how they kind of equal out. So they definitely cast a lot more than the marksman class, I would assume. But let's go on into the champion targeting. So this is the hierarchy. It's going to be tanks first, then fighters, marksmen, casters, and specialists, and then assassins. So you could put an assassin in the front line and they're probably not going to take aggro. One thing that I have not quite tested yet, I probably should have though, is they say this target priority only happens when units are equal distances away. I don't know if that is hex distance or actual distance, so I'll test that out and let everyone know. I think it's actual distance, but there's a chance that it might be hex difference. What I'm talking about is if, let's say you're Sivir, and you're attacking a Malphite and a Twist of Fate, technically from this spot here, both these units are 1, 2, 3 hexes away, but technically Twist of Fate is closer. So does it target Twist of Fate or the Malphite? If it's based on hexes, it's Malphite, but if it's based on actual distance, then it'll be Twist of Fate. So I need to test that for everyone. Rise obviously would always target Malphite here because this is both the same amount of hexes and the same amount of distance away from each other, but I'll have to test the diagonals, but I'll let you all know in a future video. Next up, we have our class emblem. So one way they kind of compensated for pretty much, in my opinion, gimping all the crest and crown augments is that they gave a little bit of a buff back to the actual emblem of each of these traits. So for Bastion, you get bonus attack damage based off of your armor and ability power based off your magic resistance. Battle Academia gains 10% damage amp per potential. So again, all of these is just when you have the emblem on that particular unit. Duelists gain attacks deal 12 true damage plus 6 true damage for each subsequent attack on the same target. Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. Whenever you have like a duelist spat then a rage blade on someone, that could be very cool. Executioners critical strikes deal 20% bonus true damage as a bleed over 3 seconds. Edgelord dealing damage reduces enemy armor by 2. Heavyweight, 150 health on takedown. Juggernaut, 30% attack speed when over 50% health. Prodigy, on cast, shield the lowest health ally for 250% of mana spent. Protector, when a shield on the holder breaks, shield the nearest ally for 150% of the shielder's value. And then Strategist, combat start, the holder and allies within 1 hexes in the same row gain bonuses. Front 2 rows, 30 armor and MR. Back 2 rows, 20% attack speed. And then snipers get 2 more range. And then sorcerers, 15% more AP from all sources. Keep in mind, not every emblem has a bonus, only some of them do. Now let's go on into the opening encounters. These are just whatever portal or encounter that you get at the very start of the game. Those are the 2 terms that people use. Yasuo is at 16.1%. I don't know if we need to know that exact, but go for the gold with 3 gold augments. Gwen is all prismatics. Zyra is last augments prismatic. Lee Sin is start a game is prismatic. Twisted Fate is get 2 component anvils. Yone is get an artifact anvil. Yumi is scuttle puddle or crabs get a lot of loot. Seraphine is crab rave, which is pretty much the same thing except after stage 5 you get like the deadly crab. Akali is loot subscription. You get random loot at the start of every stage. Lulu is Trainer Golem, that's 3 emblems on a golem, and then Braum is receive a cash prize at the start of each stage. That one's not called loot subscription, I forget what it's called, but you just get gold every single stage, and it's a lot usually. Is it called gold subscription? Is it that basic? Okay, yeah, it might be loot subscription and gold subscription. The exact name doesn't matter, you just get a lot of gold in both of them. But you just get a lot of gold in this one, and then you get a lot of random stuff in this one, which could include gold, could include maybe like a anvil of some sort, so yeah. 3-star 5 costs are now immune to crowd control and gain 20 mana regen. Okay, so in case you did not win with a 3-star 5 cost previously, you will now do it pretty much every time this time, unless you're facing another 3-star 5 cost. I don't know. That's just up to RNG in that case. Bag size for Lulu. So Lulu's a special unit where she is a monster trainer. So she allows you to get 3 different units, Rammus, Smolder, and Kog'Maw. So how does that affect bag sizes? Because when one champion can turn into 3, what exactly happens there? So Lulu is a standard 3 cost with 18 copies in the pool. However, once you pick a monster, you're pulling from the bag size of that specific monster. You're also taking a Lulu out of the pool for players who have not yet chosen a monster. For example, one player has 9 copies of Smolder and another has 9 copies of Rammus. If you have never fielded a Lulu yet, you won't see another Lulu in your shop anymore. That's because 9 plus 9 equals 18, and Lulus get taken out whenever one of the monsters get taken out. However, those 2 players will continue to find Smolders and Rammuses, which have 9 copies left in the pool, because those are going to be separate. Okay, so hopefully that helps in your journey, blah blah blah. Okay, not too complicated there. Still going to be rough if you're competing with other people, but if you're one of those people who are just looking to play a random Lulu, going to be kind of hard to find. Now onto the large changes. They're removing some augments here, so we have backup, bad luck protection, blistering strikes, bulky buddies, health is wealth, mana flow, mentorship, bulky buddies, clockwork accelerated, crown guarded, final polish, forward thinking, health is wealth, inspiring epitaph, long distance pals. Okay, I don't need to read this whole list out there. Oh, they're removing trait tracker. Okay, let me look for the interesting ones that they're taking out. So it's mainly just trait tracker, and greater moonlight's taken out. Probably too OP if you combine it with some of the power-ups, I'm guessing. Dual purpose is taken out. Oh, I was hoping for that one for crew. But yeah, it makes sense that they took it out. It would be way too broken if that were the case. Oh, they're taking out subscription service? That's weird. I thought this was always like a very popular noob-friendly augment, so I wonder why they took it out. But whatever. Welcoming back some old friends, best friends even, the greatest friends, some might say. So they're adding at what cost, beggars can be choosers, best friends, keepers. Very good in duelist comp, by the way. Power-ups, which is a renamed version of augmented power. Reroll transfers, second win, underdogs, best friends, double trouble, explosive growth, fully adaptive, keepers 2, know your enemy, stars are born, sunfire board, tons of stats, starter kit, and the golden egg. So one very interesting interaction you could do is double trouble with one of the power-ups which duplicates one of your units. So I wonder how that's going to work, because you could just get a lot of copies of units out there with double trouble. I haven't actually done that yet, but it would be fun to kind of try out. And then next up, they have some new augments. So these are mainly going to be all the trait augments, but they got some interesting stuff here, so we will actually read through all of these. Chaotic Evolution is a silver. Starring up a champion grants one of the following: health, durability, AP, AD, or AS, and bonuses stack. But you pretty much just get a random one every single time. It's a little weird, and it's obviously only good if you are playing a reroll comp, because you want to keep the units you star up, and also you want to star up as much as possible. Efficient Shopper, silver. For the next 3 carousels, gain a second copy of the champion selected. Is that even good? It's like, what, a couple gold per stage? It doesn't sound that good, but I guess it could be alright. It's good if you need the champion, because then you just get 2 copies of it and then you could play it, but if you're just doing it purely for gold value, then it's not the best. Exclusive customization, silver. Gain 5 gold and a lucky item consumable. Drag the anvil and release on a champion to open up an armory of 4 recommended items on this champion. Lit Fuse, which is a silver. After 6 seconds, units in your back 2 rows split 60 mana. Silver Destiny, gain a random silver augment and 2 gold. And then we have plus and plus plus, which is just 4 and 8 gold. By the way, all these Destiny augments are so good if you're good at the game. If you're bad at the game, they're not that great. But if you're good, then they're like probably the best things to click on. Slice of Life, which is a silver. Twice per stage, gain a random champion. Its cost increases per stage. This effect ends after receiving 2 5-cost champions. Treasure Hunt, earn a locked chest each stage between now and stage 6. You can unlock each chest when you spend 20 gold on shop rerolls. These chests persist until opened. Aim for the top. You are more likely to fight stronger players and you know who you will fight. When you lose, gain 2 XP. Every 2 wins, gain a component. This one's super interesting. I've not been able to play with this one yet, but I definitely do want to, but it feels so weird to take. Another one, which is a gold one, the next completed item you craft will grant you an additional copy, gain a component, and 3 gold. So it's essentially 1.5 components and 3 gold. But a lot of times you need something like 2 infinity edges if you're playing like a crit heavy build and you run 2 carries. So that's one way it could be useful. It could be okay if you're building a tank item, because like tank items you don't care too much about which ones they are, but it definitely is better to mix and match tank items. Like normally you don't want to build like double warmogs, like there are better combos out there. There's another one plus, which gives additional gold. Aura farming, gain a random 2-star 5-cost champion with 2 items. It cannot be sold or fielded until stage 4 or 5. So when you take this on 2-1, you essentially don't have an augment until stage 4 or 5, but you can plan around your 2-star 5-cost champion. And once that time hits, you're going to be pretty strong. Backup Dancer, start of combat champions in the 3 rightmost bench slots grant your unit 6% attack speed plus 3% attack speed per unit. These champions cannot be sold or moved during combat. You know what they should have done to make this even more interesting? Make it scale based on star level. So that way, like, you have to decide, oh, do I want to put these upgraded units on my bench or on the board? And also, it costs more gold and makes it a little more fun. Maybe they change that in the future. I don't know if Mortdog or whoever's on the team already thought of that and they discarded it because of whatever reason, but if they haven't yet, someone asked them, it'd be interesting to kind of see. Blood Rage Gold. Blood Rage, your allies gain bonus damage amp increasing as they lose health. Care package, now and twice a stage, get a care package with gold, health, or loot. Piercing Sight. Enemies take 5% damage as bonus true damage, increased by 1% up to 25% every time they take damage. Crimea River, gain a Tier Goddess, and your team gains 2 mana regen. Deadlier Blades, gain a Death Blade. Death Blade gains 5 AD after every 3 takedowns the wielder gets. Deadlier Caps is the same thing, but with Rabbanon's Death Cap. I think these two are going to be super fun to try out. It really does lock you into AD or AP path, but I think the stacking mechanic is actually pretty cool. But you need upgrades to get that because you need takedowns. Evil Beyond Measure, damage your champions deal converts to true damage at 5% per star level. Golden Destiny, it's the same thing as the Silver Destinies. Hard Bargain, you cannot pick anything from carousels. Instead, gain the usual leftovers and an additional 4 player health and 6 gold. This one might not actually be that bad. I think it does add up to be like quite a decent amount of gold. Heavy is the Crown, gain a Demacia crown, which provides significant bonuses to the wearer, but if they die, your team loses that round. So you really need to protect your dude, whoever it is, in order to make that one work. Hefty Rolls, your champions gain 7 health and size for each time you re-roll your shop this game. Howling Gale, for every 550 mana your team spends, summon a whirlwind that knocks up enemies. Last second save, when your units drop below 40% health, they heal for 30% maximum health. Pretty much called like second wind, right? Kind of the same thing, but this one is guaranteed to hit. Second wind I think is like after 10 seconds you heal up or something like that. So it's a new take on that. Plot Armor, your team gains 10 armor and MR after falling below 50% health, increase this to 50. Pocket Recombobulator, gain a consumable that transforms a 1 or 2 cost unit into another one of a higher cost. They keep their star level and you also gain a Reforger. Psychic Forge, completed items left on bench champions change to one of their recommended items, gain a random completed item. This is kind of like Pandora's items, but you get what you want a little bit faster, but it's not exactly what you want, so it's kind of like an in-between. Solo leveling, this one's really fun. For this stage, your team size is 1, the champion you field has massively increased stats, and their kills grant XP. Afterwards, gain 2 item components. Story of 7, collect golden balls by defeating players in combat. Collect all 7 for a reward, then restart the quest with more powerful rewards. Gain a 2-star 1-cost champion to start your journey. This one looks interesting, but I feel like if someone just dies randomly, you kind of grief yourself, right? I wonder if it lowers to 6 if that's the case. I have no idea. I haven't actually played with this one yet, but I do want to. Tesla Coil, each of your allies with 3 items equipped emit arcs of lightning every so often, dealing a bunch of damage scaling with stage. Time Skip, disable your shop for 3 turns, then gain 28 XP. This one's pretty much just like AFK, but it's just disabling your shop. Water Lotus, your team gains 5% crit strike chance and their abilities can critically strike. If an ability critically strikes, restore 10% of your mana over 4 seconds. A hero arrives. This one can only show up on 3, 2, and beyond, but We're into Prismatics now. After 10 seconds, the leftmost unit on your bench enters combat, stunning enemies in 2 hexes for 1.5 seconds. They gain 50% max health. Hold the line. Each combat for every champion in the front row, champions in the back row gain 7% AD and 8 AP. This one's going to be good if you have kind of like a balance between frontline and backline champions. Maybe if you have like 4 tanks, 4 DPS, it could probably be pretty good there. Isekai Prismatic, gain a 2-star special champion from another universe. This champion has a special trait for this game. Mess Hall, after 12 seconds of combat, your champions gain 20% attack speed, and attacks also hurl delicious projectiles that deal 120% attack damage as magic damage. You need tanks to make this one work so that you could last till 12 seconds of combat. 9 lives. This one is a very interesting one. Mortdog talked about this a little bit, but you essentially have 9 HP, and losses only deal 1 HP, but every loss you take, you gain loot. So imagine if you just go on a lose streak by accident in stage 2, you'd only have 4 lives left. It'd be hilarious, but obviously you get loot to kind of make up for it. Prismatic Destiny, gain a random prismatic and 5 gold. Protagonist, gain a random 1-cost champion augment, a 2-star copy of the champion, and 1 component. Gain another copy after every player combat. So this one is just worth the wait or whatever it's called, but it's for hero augments. So you definitely can get like a 4-star hero augment. Should be pretty fun. Quiet Quitting, for the next 5 PvP rounds, you cannot buy or sell units. Afterwards, gain 12 gold and 1 completed item anvil. This has to be a typo, right? This reward is way too low. I think they meant to put this as a gold augment. Like, there's no way this is a prismatic one, because getting only 1 item anvil and 12 gold. Normally, for prismatics, you get like 2.5 items. And yeah, this is not equal to 2.5 items, considering you have a downside too. Trickster's Treat. Get a Trickster's Glass. Your Trickster's Glass summons an additional clone every 9 seconds, but each additional clone is weaker than before. Unlimited Power, gain a Morellonomicon, Rabadon Sethcap, and a Needlessly Large Rod, and a Magnetic Remover. Useful for magic carries. Last up, we have Water Lotus, which is the same one as the gold one. You just get crit and more crit, and then you restore mana if you do crit. Item changes, they did change the way we gain mana a lot, so instead of getting flat mana from some items, we now have mana regen on a lot of items. So pretty much, if it gave mana before, it now gives mana regen. It changes a lot of builds for casters. Like, some casters, they don't even need blue buff or Spear of Shojin anymore, because you could just build Archangels, Void Staff, things like that. Like, anything that has a tier, more often than not, they're going to give some mana regen. So there are some cases where you don't need a dedicated mana items, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, Archangel's got the same change. Edge of Night, you now get the attack speed buff right away instead of after triggering Lifeline, so that's pretty good. Spear of Shojin, changing the mana regen, and then changing up the stats a little bit. Hand of Justice gets the mana regen instead of the mana. Hextech Gunblade also gives mana regen now. Morellonomicon gives 2 mana regen, so yeah. There was one build I saw which was like Archangels, Morello, and Void Staff, and the mana regen was not bad. It surprises you. Nashor's Tooth is going to give mana regen as well, and then the attack speed is going to be reduced to compensate, but also gets more AP. So instead of being like a hybrid item, it was mainly like an AP item before, but now it's like even more of an AP item. Adaptive Helm's getting changed a bit. It now gives mana to both frontline and backliners, and it does it in the same way. So it's just 15% additional mana from all sources, no matter like who's wearing it. And then based on your role, if you're a melee or a range, you get either 35 armor and MR, or you get 15 attack damage and ability power. Blue buff is going to get the mana removed and get a lot of mana regen to compensate, and no longer refunds 10 mana on cast or grants damage amp on kill. Giant Slayer now gives bonus damage against tanks instead of units above a certain health threshold, so this makes it a little bit better in the early game, but it does make it worse in the late game against reroll comps, because a lot of reroll comps, they just get more health than whatever you needed for Giant Slayer, so it's a good counter to it. But that doesn't exist anymore. It only works against tanks now, but luckily everyone pretty much runs tanks, so it does have a use in a lot of different scenarios. Protector's Vow is going to be changed a little bit, because you do get the mana regen. You still get flat mana at the start of game, but it's at a start of combat effect. And then you still get the shield as per usual. Titan's Resolve, bonus resist at cap is being changed to 15 from 20, and grants CC immunity at stack cap for the rest of combat. Pretty nice. Artifacts, Dawn Core is going to be a new artifact item. It's going to be the old blue buff, but you get a bunch of different stats as well, so it's a bit more powerful. And then a bunch of random AP items got a bunch of mana regen instead of mana, so if they gave mana before, they're gonna get mana regen now, so there's a small list of them there. Silvermere Dawn is no longer unique, so if you stack it, that could be pretty deadly. But there's a new consumable item out there, lucky item chest used on a champion to open up an armory of items especially suited for them. So if you hover over a champion and hover over their role, you'll see like recommended items for them. That's the pool that they take from. Radiant lucky item chest is also another thing, and then radiant items, the same mana regen change is going to happen there for Shojin, Archangels, Hand of Justice, Morello, Adaptive Helm, Protector's Vow, Blue Buff, etc, etc. And then finally, support items have been removed, so I'm going to miss them a little bit. They were kind of cool, but they were pretty OP in certain comps and completely useless in others, so in a way it's good. I don't know, maybe they'll bring them back in the future, but loot subscription is going to have lucky item chests instead of the support anvils, and then golden egg support item rewards removed, and then same for exalted adventure. And then they just have one bug fix. Trait tracker panel will no longer flip to the previous tab when you check out the overflow. Wait a minute, are they talking about the augment trait tracker? Oh no, they're talking about the literally looking at your traits on the left hand side. Yeah, sometimes when you click the arrow, it like brings you back to the old one, which was a bit weird. But yeah, I'm gonna be coming out with a meta snapshot tomorrow, but the website's already updated with most stuff. It is a work in progress, so if you want to look at some comps to play when the set releases in like a couple hours or a day, go to bunnymuffins.lol/meta, and of course for all your data needs, go to teamfight.lol. But yeah, it should be an exciting set. I'm actually going to play a lot more in this set. I didn't play too much last set because I had a bunch of other stuff going on, and the set kind of sucked, let's be honest. So I think this one's going to be good. Because normally they have good set, bad set, good set, bad set, like in most cases. Sometimes they have 2 goods in a row, sometimes they have 2 bads in a row, but for the most part, it's been good set, bad set. So we're bound for a good set this time. So hopefully you all will enjoy this set along with me, and I hope you also enjoyed this video. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back like a lot of days in the next coming weeks, so definitely look out for that. Oh, by the way, if you want to be featured in a video, go to bunnymuffins.lol, head on over to coaching and submit your games, and who knows, you might be featured in one of the next videos if you submit the form there and record one of your games. But that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully I'll see you all next time.